Have you ever wondered what happens after ever after? Have you always yearned to know if the end is really the end? No? Well, you're going to find out anyway, with your hosts Andi, Tami, and Gina. This is 2D Vision.
Hello everyone, welcome to the very first episode of 2D Vision. Today we're talking about the very first Disney sequel to the original 1977 The Rescuers. And of course, this is 1990's The Rescuers Down Under. I'm your host, one of your hosts, Gina, and here with me is your co-host, Andi.
Hello.
And
Andi.
all the way from the US, here's your other co-host, Tami.
Hi.
Hi. So yeah, well, we're very excited because this is the very first episode, the very first official episode of the podcast. I don't know if you listened to our episode 0 where we made our introductions, but you definitely should because we give you a little bit of context about us and about how this podcast was born. And just the main things. This is a podcast that's going to be all about the Disney sequels and how they hold up to the original and just giving our opinions and our analysis on these very interesting pieces of art and merchandising.
And animation history.
And animation history. Just like history, you can't deny history, and this is part of Disney history. Yeah. So we were excited, and the very first episode is going to be all about The Rescuers Down Under. Just what do you guys think about the very first one?
Well, may I start?
Yeah.
Okay. So The Rescuers, the first one. I have an interesting history with this because for a lot, well, I don't know if it was a lot, but for some time I thought The Rescuers Down Under was the Rescuers movie.
Oh.
I didn't know there was another one, so I have very clear in my head the moment where I was on the TV and the guide said The Rescuers, and I was like, okay, let's watch it. And some stuff with a little girl and alligators started happening, and it was like, what is this? But Bernard and Bianca were there, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll watch it. And I actually don't have a lot of memories about it. We recently rewatched it for this podcast. We rewatched both. So, I found out that all that I knew about it was what people had told me, but I didn't really remember anything for myself. So, well, that is my history with it, and my opinions about it is it is a really cute movie. It's actually a really kind of sad. It has like a sad feeling, like a nostalgic feeling, somewhat. I really like Penny. She's adorable. I like Medusa. She's crazy. And I really want to see a movie crossover between her, Cruella, and Isma from...
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Because, oh my god. I know, they're both the three of them are really crazy and have like the same style.
Tag yourself and Medusa.
Tag yourself and Isma, duh.
So, Tami's Cruella? Yeah. Okay. We should make that our Halloween costumes this year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, Tami, you want to say your thoughts on the first Rescuers?
Okay, so I don't really have much of a history with it because I didn't, watch it a lot. I'm sure I've watched it once when it was, on the Disney Channel movie, and I'm sure I liked it enough, but I never, took the time to rewatch it, and I'm so grateful for you guys starting this because after I rewatched it, I was like, I really like this film. It's such a good movie. It's not something, I would consider it underrated, I guess, a bit, and I never really considered it before we started this podcast, and I'm just glad I had the chance to watch it with you guys. I was gonna say something, but I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I think it's a great film. It's very cute. It has its sad moments, like when Penny is sad because nobody wants to adopt her. I was
God.
This is so sad. This is so sad. And my parents recently just left the country. Like, they went back to the Philippines, and I'm like, oh, no, I'm sad now. As I was watching it, I literally wanted to stop, and I was like, no, I gotta keep going.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It got better after that. It was just that one moment. But yeah, it has a lot of emotions, and it's just a really sweet film, and I really like it.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, for me, The Rescuers and The Rescuers Down Under kind of also kind of merged in as one. I don't really know if when I was a child I had like the idea that there was a sequel and the original. I don't know. I just know I watched both a lot. I watched The Rescuers a lot on TV. I didn't own it on VHS like a lot of other Disney movies, but it played a lot on TV, and I watched it a lot, and I really, really liked it. And like I didn't enjoy watching it as much because it did make me sad. Ever since I was a child, I really connected to Penny, and it just really made me very sad to see her cry. And there was a very big gap from the last time I watched The Rescuers to the earliest one, which was like yesterday for the podcast. And I just know I was telling Andy that one of the only things I remember from this movie is Penny crying. And like I think that image kind of stuck with me for many, many years because it was really like an emotional hit for me to see her crying. It was just it's so heartbreaking because, I think even more now as an adult, you see her and, she's a child and she's going through a lot. She's literally being abused and she's been like just going through stuff that no kid should go through. And she just wants a family, and it's just so heartbreaking, so sad. I really shed tears watching Penny. That scene when Medusa takes away her teddy, and she's like, yeah, I'm going down the hole, just give me my bear back. And it's just a very childish thing, and it's very sweet. Like, that bear was everything that Penny had, and the fact that she took it away from her, like, just see like the fear and the heartbreak on Penny's eyes. And that says a lot about the animation. The animation really is a standout for this movie. Mm-hmm. And, it came out in 1977 along another movie, which maybe you have heard about, which is called Star Wars. And apparently, I just read this in the Wikipedia page literally 5 minutes ago, and apparently in France, The Rescuers outgrossed Star Wars in France. So, yeah, this was a very successful movie.
Makes you think a lot about what's going on.
What's going on in France? Are you okay, France?
No, it's good.
Yeah.
The Rescuers are good.
Yeah, I know. So basically, it was a very successful movie for Disney at the time. I think I heard this in the Disorder podcast, which you should definitely go check out. Apparently, this movie was Disney's most successful movie from 1977 to 1989 when the Little Mermaid came out. Not many movies came out in that period, but it does say a lot that this was their biggest hit until the Little Mermaid. And yeah, it's a very cute movie. I think even if we didn't really watch, you two didn't really watch it, I did. As kids, it does leave an impact on you because it's a very emotional movie and it's very heartwarming and it's very wholesome. And Bernard and Bianca are the sweetest things. And it has a lot of history and it means a lot for Disney. And yeah, it's a very, very cute movie.
Can we start the Bernard fan club? Please?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Like, Bernard is just
the sweetest.
Girls, get you a guy that treats you the way Bernard treats Bianca. That's goals. That is so much goals. Just the way he looks at her. That's what you were saying to me. Like, do you want to talk about that?
Oh, I just love the way he looks at her. Yeah, it's just so sweet and like that she's his everything. And it's just, I don't know. Like, there was this one moment. I forgot which one of the films. I think it was the sequel, The Rescuers Down Under, where the Australian mouse was annoying him, and he was all mad and angry. But then once Bianca started talking to him, he just got all relaxed and happy, and I'm like, aww. Yeah, it's just really sweet.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely one of the strongest points. Like, the relationship. I think it's very natural. Like, you see from the very first moment that they're attracted to each other. Like, Bernard is really attracted to Bianca. Of course, everyone is, but even in a room where everyone is looking at Bianca. Bianca is only looking at Bernard, and I think that's very sweet. And
Bianca has a really big crush on Bernard.
She does.
Like from the moment she saw him.
Yeah. But she acts really cool.
Yeah. I want to have Bianca's confidence to talk.
I know, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's our initial thoughts on the very first one. So, you guys want to talk about a little bit about the sequel? That's what we're here for.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Well,
Who wants
to start, I just want to say just a couple of history facts. Rescuers Down Under came out in 1990. It's the very second movie for the Disney Renaissance. The first one being The Little Mermaid, and then this one came out in 1990. And it's the only movie from the Renaissance that is not a musical. And that's very interesting.
And it's the only one that is a sequel.
And it's the only one that is a sequel, and I think it's the only one that wasn't a financial success. Actually, I read this in the IMDb page, but The Rescuers Down Under actually lost money.
Compared to the first one, that is weird.
It is weird. I don't know why, because I think we all kind of, at least I grew up thinking that The Rescuers was a very successful movie, because I think The Rescuers Down Under,
Mm-hmm.
that I thought it was very successful, because I just felt that everyone knew about it, and it looks very pretty. It looks like a movie that's just a popular movie, I think, because it came out at the time that it did. And and you just put it alongside the other Renaissance movie, and you kind of just assume that it was successful, but it wasn't. It actually lost money, and you know, we're gonna talk about all of the direct-to-home video movies, and I think the fact that The Rescuers Down Under didn't make money, that it was actually like a failure per se for Disney, that kind of discouraged them to make more theatrically released movies, and that is, I think, what got us into sequel hell, which is that period from the 1990s to the early 2000s, which a lot of sequels came out that weren't just, meeting the quality that the first ones have, and that I think Rescuers Down Under definitely does.
Well, maybe the fact that it is the only one from the Renaissance that wasn't a musical, and that was a sequel, and that lost money. Maybe Disney saw the correlation there, I think, and said, okay, let's just let it rest a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because the next sequel for them, it was Winnie Pooh in 2012.
No, it was Fantasia 2000.
Oh, well, no, it was Fantasia 2000.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, wow, why did I forget that? That one, and the first non-musical was...
The first one ever?
No, the first one after Rescuers.
I think it was Dinosaur, I think.
Dinosaur, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was, exactly. That's when the Disney Renaissance stops, and these other
experimental
Disney movies start. But The Rescuers Down Under is one of the very first Disney Renaissance, and it is a very interesting movie, I think. What do you think, Tami?
I really like it. Yeah, I think it's a really great film. It it's not the best Disney film. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's an enjoyable watch. I think it. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I thought I lost you guys because it went all silent for a second.
We're listening.
But yeah, I think it's a really enjoyable watch. The animation is amazing. Like the flying scenes, it's really good.
Yes.
And it's just remarkable. You actually feel like you're flying with Cody and Marahute. And I also love how, since I watched this back to back, you can really see the difference in animation. And I remember you guys saying like it's only been 13 years? 13 years, and the difference in animation is clear. It's cleaner, it's crisper, it's just beautiful. But like I said, and I think you guys like it too, I still adore the sketchiness of of the older animation. I love it. It's just really charming. But the quality in animation is clear, and I think it's really great.
Yeah.
I also, I kind of, like when I was a kid, I had a crush on that Australian mouse. I'm not going to lie.
On the what?
The Australian mouse, Jake.
Jake.
Okay.
I had a crush on him when I was little.
I totally get it.
I get it.
Disney making furries everywhere.
Oh no.
Oh no.
This is going to be a recurring topic.
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna have to make a full disclosure that
Yeah.
this podcast is not a furry podcast. We are not
Yeah.
furries, I swear to God. But
When you get spiky too, though, it's gonna be trouble.
yeah, you can blame us. Like Disney really can make an animated animal like be cute and be like, oh yeah, I really like that character. And it's not real.
Oh my god.
It normalizes it. So by the time you get to our age, you're like, that's not that bad. I get it.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think it's a great film. I told you guys this already, but I find it amazing how like most of the film is just them trying to get to Cody. Like I realized that when they weren't yet to him, they were still trying to get him, but Cody was in a cage. He wasn't rescued yet. Like Bernard was like somewhere else. He was still trying to get to Cody, and I had 20 minutes left of the film. I was like, oh my gosh.
Okay, but
When are they gonna rescue this kid? I don't think they rescue him until like, I don't know, there's like only 9 minutes left in the film. It was, yeah. I get it, they're mice, it's hard to get places.
you're mice. Okay, but
Yeah.
the searchers were a harder sale than the rescuers.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
you couldn't name it the searchers.
Yeah. Can you imagine if it was named the Searchers? You would have flopped. It would have definitely flopped even harder.
That's
as a
even
viewer. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I really love, as a kid, I really watched a lot of the Rescuers Down Under. I remember very vividly watching, especially Cody. I have very intense memories of Cody and those flying scenes with the eagle. How do you say her name?
Marajute.
As Andy and I speak Spanish, so we watch the movie in Spanish. So we call her Marajute, but sometimes maybe I don't think you pronounce that way in English. I don't know. Anyway, the flying scenes are really beautiful. Like we were watching it, and I was like, "What kind of How to Train Your Dragon is this?" Like,
Yeah, it was like a recurring joke with
yeah. Because you just look at it. I just love it because it really marks the difference between the era of Disney of the Rescuers and just that kind of animation, the sketchiness, which is very charming. And I love watching those movies because, you just feel like the classicness in them. But, ever since The Black Cauldron and The Little Mermaid and Oliver and Company, they start making the animation more crisp, as you said, and cleaner. And you definitely see that in Rescuers Down Under. The animation is just spotless, I think.
Yeah.
And I read in IMDb, I'm not sure if this is true, but that it was the very first 100% digital movie. I think
Makes sense.
it would make sense.
Yeah.
Just take it with a grain of salt, but that's what IMDb says. And that's amazing. That I love that Disney is always trying to outdo themselves and they're trying to make a difference in the cinematic world. And those flying scenes. I read also that they're inspired by Miyazaki movies that have very amazing aerial scenes, and so
That's awesome.
They took inspiration from Miyazaki for those flying sequences, and it really pays off because that's just a highlight of the movie. That very first scene with Cody and Marajute, and they're flying, and you just see this kind of relationship and their bonding, and it's amazing. It's so beautiful. It really touches my heart.
What kind of How to Train Your Dragon?
Yeah.
Okay, talking about the initial scene, compare this to the 77 movie.
Yeah,
it's really different. Oh my god, the change of the themes, well, not
definitely.
the themes, like from the rhythm of the movie.
Yeah, definitely.
This is an action movie.
Yeah.
Rescuers Down Under is a straight up action movie. Like,
Yeah.
it is amazing to me because I think the original Rescuers also had a really action scenes.
Yeah, definitely with Medusa and her and
When she just came out with two
alligators, that's iconic. What an iconic look when we just remember.
And it is astounding to me that two of the most action-packed Disney movies are the two about the little mice trying to rescue kids.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love that.
I love that as well. But yeah, it makes sense. It's a really standout, as you said, that the 1977 starts and it's very like static and just kind of, you see the bottle and you see the sea, the ocean, and it's kind of just very slow pace, and the music is just like,
Yeah.
it's very sweet, very emotional, and you're like, oh my god, what did I get into? Like, I'm gonna cry. But this movie starts, and you're like, oh my god, yes. I just remember, like, it starts with, like, a ladybug, I think, and gets another bug, and it kind of starts boom, and the music picks up, and you just see Cody running, and you see him. I think you see him climbing the mountain. Did you see him climbing the mountain? You just see him at the top. I don't know how he got there. I don't know how much it took him to get there, but he does.
Yeah.
and just from the very first minute you're there, and you're just full of enthusiasm to watch where this movie is going.
Yeah.
Check me up.
So true.
I don't know. Like I really like that initial scene because it really, like you said, it prepares you for the whole movie.
Yeah.
And then it just never. I didn't feel it dragged.
No.
Like all the scenes were kind of short, and there were a lot, and
they were entertaining.
Yeah.
Like the villain is very entertaining.
Oh, the villain.
Yeah.
He's gross.
Exactly. That's
gross.
awesome.
I would classify him as a gross villain.
Yeah.
You have your scary villains and your goofy villains, and you have your gross villains.
Your goofy villains? A spoiler?
Oh my gosh.
This is definitely a gross kind of villain.
He did have his humorous scenes though. I love the egg scene.
Definitely.
Oh my god, yeah.
I replayed that. I had to replay that.
It was fun. I loved it.
Yeah.
I just gonna
go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was gonna change the subject.
Oh, that you were talking about villains. It was just something I noticed between the two. Like, I loved the villains. Like, I just thought they were so funny. For me, I thought Medusa and McLeach were really funny. They had their really funny moments. But then I started to like them, and then right when I started to like them, they would do something horrendous. And I'm like, oh my god, you're a terrible person. Like, they would, like, suck me into, like, the character. I was like, I'm really liking your performance. But then, like, Medusa would would get Penny's teddy and just treat her horribly. Cleach would just, I don't know, like, I can't remember, like, throw knives at Cody, and I'm like, oh my god, I hate you. It was like a battle of feelings and emotions.
Yeah. And well, for me, like, the fact that he's a hunter, it's really, it just really grosses me out a lot. I have like zero tolerance for everything of that sort. So yeah, I don't know. Like they did such a good job on making him funny, but also making you hate him.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
When he said, like, when he tried to get to Cody the first time, and he said, "Oh, I already have the father," and he just showed that feather and was like, "F you!
Yeah.
What the
Yeah.
hell?
Yeah.
Like, go away!
Yeah.
I
love
can
that.
kill you right now."
I also love that. I was gonna say earlier that I really enjoy Cody's character. I think he's very cute, and I think he's a very good follow-up for Penny.
Yeah.
I mean, for Penny, I think you get more emotionally invested because you see just how much she struggles, and because Cody, I think, puts up a fight more than Penny. I mean, Penny definitely does. But
Well, Penny's younger.
Yeah, and she was definitely just outpowered in every sense.
And maybe because she's a girl and he's a boy, that also had something to do with it back then.
I guess.
Back then,
Yeah, for sure.
And Cody, you just can tell that he's very used. He lives in Australia, so he's used to dealing with animals and the wild, and he's used to it. And
he's a badass.
Yeah, he's Australian. That's why he's awesome.
I love him. I think he's a very cute character, and I love that first scene with Marjorie when they're in her nest, and Cody asks her, "Where's the father?" And Marjorie kind of just looks down, and I love that because I just understood, without the characters having to say a word, I understood, the father was hunned down.
Yeah.
And that's why it hurts Marjorie to think about him. And yeah, I love that even in a Disney sequel, even though it's a theatrically released Disney sequel, they have these kind of nuances. And it's a smart movie, it has its moments where you're like, what is this?
With the little green...
Yeah. We'll get to that later, but, just that moment for me, it was just I kind of visual storytelling that it's really I love when a movie can pull that off, right? That when without saying a single word, you understand this backstory, and I totally understood that the father was hunt down and that she was alone, and I love that. I love when a movie can pull that off,
And it can trust its audience.
it trusts its audience, and I think that's a very important thing for a movie to do. That you trust your audience to understand and to connect the points themselves, connect the dots themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me another thing you want to add.
No, I think you guys covered all. I love how you mentioned how good it is at visual storytelling. Because I didn't even realize about what it was doing. I was just watching and following along with the film, but they did. You're right. They did an amazing job at it.
That is something to how do you say?
Rescue? I don't know what it is.
To rescue.
That's right. To rescue from the sequel.
No, that is something good that you can just put a movie and don't think about it. Just go along for the ride, and then you can think about
exactly
all the stuff. And yes, I think what I really like also was the relationships between the characters. But I don't know. I feel like Bernardo and Bianca didn't change that much, but the I don't know. Like I noticed a change of attitude with Bianca. Like we were saying, like oh my God, she arrived and she had a big crush on this guy and stuff. But I don't know. The beginning was kind of weird because they are dining in this fancy restaurant for mice, for creatures. And then they're making a toast, and Bianca is like, "Oh, for our friendship," and it's like,
does she say that in English? Because in the Spanish dub, she does say for.
I don't think she says that in English. I don't remember that.
I think that's what we because in Spanish she says like for friendship or for being friends, and I was like, what?
I feel like I would have remembered that. I don't remember her saying that.
Okay,
I'll check again. I can check again after this, and I'll let you guys know.
I don't know, maybe that's a Spanish dub thing, but it's the same scene that Bernard is trying to propose. Yeah. So I was like, Bianca, what are you doing? What are you doing for poor Bernard? Just confusing him at the last moment.
Like you let him on for 13 years. No, how much is it between the first one and the other?
I don't think it's that
no,
much.
Right?
I think
there's still the same guy as the president of the United.
Yeah. At most 4 years, but I don't think it's that much. I think it's, like a year or so, maybe 2. I don't think it really matters. It's just a very short time skip.
Because that one under doesn't have like anything to tell you what year it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the Rescuers is really 70s.
It's a very 70s movie, but the Rescuers because the Rescuers Down Under is set in Australia and it's set in the wild. You can't really tell. Maybe by the vehicles, but we don't really know our vehicles, so I don't know. But
are you an expert on Australian trucks for the wild in the 70s?
I think I would love to see your face when I said that I was, but I'm not. Sadly, I'm not.
Actually,
I took this course in COD. No, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm glad to hear that she didn't say that in English.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't quote me on that. I'll let you guys know later.
It was really confusing.
It was really confusing. Yeah, definitely. But now that you point out that the relationship between Bianca and Bernard, I love that. I love that it's really a movie about taking the next step, and the next step is marriage. And I love. I think I want to talk about Bernard and his arc in this movie because I think it's very interesting, and it's something that I don't think I ever picked up on before. But I love his character arc.
It's even better because after you watch the first one. Sorry.
Yeah, it's good.
After you watch the first one, because they don't really have a big arc on that one. It's just like
Well, their arc is that they're doing something that nobody thought they could do. Everyone was like, "Oh, what can two little mice do?" And they're like, "No, we can do something important," and they do. And the movie's about them proving to everyone that they can rescue this girl and they can do something big, even if they're very little mice. And this movie, I don't know, I wouldn't say that it's just about that, but Bernard definitely has a very important arc, and I love that. I love watching him because, he's kind of this everyday man. He's kind of shy. He's kind of, well, he is brave when it comes to Bianca. Like, whenever it's about protecting her, he really is braver, and and he's ready to, fight everyone that tries to hurt Bianca, I think. But, in this movie, he is really put to test because he's in Australia and he's left alone for some time in the movie, and he has to get to Bianca by himself, and he has to survive in Australia by himself. And, we were watching him, and we were like, oh my God, Bernard's a badass. When did Bernard get so much badass? He fights, and he puts this warthog, and I don't know what that is, like the hog, the
they call it a razorback.
When he talks to it, it's like, whoa,
like, you're gonna
Bernard.
do what I say. You're gonna do what I say. I was like, oh my. I love that because and then just you see him go through this stuff in Australia, and you're like, oh, poor Bernard, he's gone through enough. And I love that he's like in his mind, I'm done. I've had a horrible day. I'm just gonna do it. And he proposes to Bianca, like, just marry me. You see him going through the whole movie, like, trying to find the perfect moment and the perfect words, and what is she gonna say? I'm so scared. But after he goes to Australia and survives on his own, he's like, screw it, I'm just gonna ask, marry me. And she's like, of course she says yes. And I love that after surviving in Australia by himself, he had the courage to ask Bianca to marry him.
Only after he survived on Australia by himself.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's a very underrated character arc for him.
Yeah, I never hear anyone talking about this.
No,
nobody tells me about Bernard becoming a badass. I've been robbed. I need more people telling me that in my life. So this is how
I definitely found some new respect for Bernard. I always had a soft spot for him, but right now I'm like, oh yeah, I respect that now.
Oh, no, he's so cute.
He's very cute.
They're also cute.
Yeah,
and Jake is really cool. What?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying Bernard is adorable. I love his design, like how he's so pudgy and he's such a cute character.
Yeah, he definitely is. And Bianca is beautiful, I think. Yeah. I don't know how they pulled that off, but Bianca is just so classy and she's beautiful and just so refined and
smart.
She's just everything I aspire to be as a woman. This little mice is just something I aspire to be. Like, I want to be on that level. I love that she is very classy, but she's not uptight. She had a crush on the janitor, so that says a lot about her.
That's adorable.
She is very adorable. She's very cute.
Bernard was a janitor, and right now he's a hero, and I love him.
And I love about Bianca that she just really wants to help. She's just concerned about these kids. Like, when she reads Penny's letter, she's like, I want to go on this mission. Please send me on this mission. And she was just so ready to take that mission in Australia. And it's fantastic. I love that about her, that she just really wants to help, and that's what she wants to do. And she doesn't have any other interests. She just wants to help. I love that.
Yeah.
Something else? Maybe other characters?
Well, there's this one thing I noticed when I was watching it. I don't know. Like, I want your guys' opinion on it, but I was. Like, I guess bummed out that there isn't much of a relationship between Bernard, Bianca, and Cody. Yeah. Like, they don't spend enough time with each other. But, like, with the pacing of the film, I get it. Like, they literally rescue him right when they get to him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess, do you think that's something that was needed? I just remember noticing it, and I couldn't figure out if it was a good thing, a bad thing, or just, like, a neutral thing.
I think it's definitely, I think it's a low point, for everything good that the Down Under has going on for it. I think the fact that there isn't much of a relationship between Cody, Bianca, and Bernard is definitely a downside. I don't think I think they could have done that better. I think, it does take them a lot to get to Cody, and by the time they free him and everything's okay, I'm like, did they really do anything?
I know, right? There's not much there. There's not much to
if they hadn't gotten there, what would have happened to Cody? Like, I think Cody would have found a way to save himself.
I have a theory that maybe they wanted to do that. Like they wanted to show that Cody could rescue himself.
Yeah.
But I think they overdone it and they made Bernard and Bianca do almost nothing. But
They try. I mean, they do try, and they do help.
no, and Bernard with those eggs at the end.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
he's definitely the MVP. he rescues the ex from Joanna. And then
Joanna.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that. I was like, oh my god, you're so smart.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it's definitely like a bad point of the movie that I think
Okay.
for everything good about it, I would have loved to see Bernard, Bianca, and Cody interact more, because I think Cody would have loved Bernard and Bianca if they would have gotten the time to just sit down and talk.
Yeah.
I think they definitely had more of a relationship with Penny, and they interacted more with her, and they helped her a lot more.
Sure.
They helped her get the diamond, and they helped her plan her escape and everything. And with Cody, he just kind of was already doing his thing, and Bernard and Bianca were like, okay, we're just gonna do something to help you do your thing. Yeah, but I think definitely Cody could have saved himself, I think. But it's nice that Bernard and Bianca were there to help him.
Well, the ex wouldn't have survived.
Yeah, I think
that's true.
Yeah, that's something that we can thank Bernard and Bianca.
He would have fallen off that waterfall.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Jake and Bianca were the one who got Marahude out, so they did do something important.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do.
Yeah.
But I just think
It was just that relationship I craved.
Yeah,
I feel like it made the rescue less impactful.
Yeah,
maybe.
definitely. They could have just. I wish they could have met sooner. Like,
Yeah.
if they had met even at the half point of the movie, I think that would have been okay. And they meet and they have this bond and they start trying to work together. But the trouble is that they really just meet about
Like you said to me.
just 20 minutes, 15 minutes before the movie ends.
Yeah.
And that's it's not bad per se, and it definitely it's still I think it's still a good movie even with that in mind. But I think it would have taken the movie from good to great if Bernard and Bianca and Cody would have had more of a relationship with them, and just something that kind of bonded them and linked them together emotionally, and not just this is a kid that we need to save because he's a kid. And
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe, well, Cody did spend a lot more time with the other animals.
That's true.
Yeah.
I this is another problem that I have with the movie. What happened to those animals? The ones that were in the cages,
Oh yeah, that's true.
What's the name of the Frank?
Frank.
What happened to Frank?
Frank is a little thing with.
Yeah, with the
Jar Jar Binks of the movie. Okay, so this is my thing with Frank. I liked it, but I think in one moment I was like, okay, you can shut up now. Right now.
It was funny at first, but you can shut up now.
Like the first Rescuers, the connection with Star Wars was we already discussed it, and this is this movie's connection with Star Wars.
Yeah,
that is
Frank,
the Jar Jar Binks.
Frank is Jar Jar Binks. Theory confirmed. Yeah, I wish. I think what I would have liked more of from the movie is that if it had a better ending. I think it ends too abruptly. I think they have this very beautiful scene with them flying over the clouds, and Bernard proposes to Bianca finally, and everything's okay with them. And then you cut to Wilbur, and with the eggs, and the eggs hatch, and he's like, "Oh my God, what's happening? Oh, okay, you're kind of cute," and the movie ends. And I just wish we could have gotten a scene after,
with the mother with the eggs.
A scene with Bernard, Bianca, and Cody talking about what just happened. Like, thank you guys. This was awesome. Just something, a scene to give closure to that.
Like what they did with Penny with the news report.
Definitely. Yeah, something like that. I was just so baffled when the credits started rolling. I was like, oh,
I saw your face.
Is that the end? What? I just thought that there was gonna be like an aftermath, something of that kind that just show him reuniting with his mother and see him seeing the other animals and seeing Marahure reuniting with her babies.
Mm-hmm.
and maybe Bernard and Bianca going back to New York. Like, did they ever get back to New York? We don't know. We'll never know because there's not a Rescuers 3. And for all we know, maybe they're still in Australia, and that kind of bothers me. I think I just wish it had a better ending. Because I was there for the ride. I really enjoyed myself watching that movie. I think it's a very fun adventure movie, but it just kind of ends very flatly.
Yeah.
Just the conflict resolves and then it's over.
There were a lot of loose ends.
There were a lot of, I don't know if they're plot holes, but they're definitely just, I don't think there was a closure. I don't think there was I think there was definitely a closure, a physical closure, because they weren't caged anymore, but there was not an emotional closure.
Yeah.
I think
that's
lacking in this movie.
Say something?
Yeah.
So, I totally agree with you because I get what you're saying. Like, you're on this emotional high, and then you just need something to calm you back down and to, like, tell you, like, the film has ended.
Yeah.
Like, when you want more. Like, when you're on this emotional high, you want more, and then when it abruptly ends like that, like, you feel incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like,
Oh, no, that's it. That's me.
Okay, I don't know. It was weird because it was like they ran out of budget, and it was like, okay, just cut 2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe you could take out those scenes with Wilbur getting.
Okay, that's another thing I wanted to say. I don't want to be negative because I think this is a very wholesome movie,
But
in and of itself. But what is up with those Wilbur scenes with the
Why
nurses
are
and
they?
and the doctor?
I loved it.
I mean,
I loved it.
I think
The little nurses are adorable.
No, I think when I was a kid, I didn't pay attention to it because it is made for kids. It is made to be comic relief and just take a break from the story. But as an adult, I'm watching it and I'm like, what is this? And I'm just in my head. I can just imagine the director and the producer being like, we need to fill up some 5 minutes of the movie. What do we do? Oh well, give Wilbur a subplot where he's being taken care of,
Torture.
in the hospital.
Not taken care of. He's
You have
being
these
tortured
little
by that
mice
crazy
nurses.
doctor.
Actually, there's another connection to Star Wars. The little mice. You cannot tell me that those
Oh my
remind
gosh.
you to the fish
The caretakers,
nurses,
yeah.
the caretakers
That's-
in The Last Jedi. Those
For
are
sure.
definitely inspirations of them, definitely.
Of course, everybody knows that Ryan Johnson
Of course.
watched Rescuers Down Under and said,
He
that
saw
is
it-
the most Star Wars thing I've ever seen. I have
Yeah.
to put those mice in my movie.
Oh my god, that's definitely a thing that happened. But it kind of just it just took me out of the movie a little bit. The scenes with Wilbur and in the hospital started, and I was like, where is it going? And it really doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, I guess you're saying, like, if you take it out of the film, nothing really changes. Like,
Absolutely
there's no
nothing.
point to it. There's no point to it.
We're
I thought, yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I get what you're saying, but I still found it, like, hilarious. Like, I loved
Okay.
it. Like, it just made me, like, they made me laugh, and it's just, I don't know, maybe it was just a way to, like, just, I don't know, relax after all the drama. I guess they could have done it in a better way that makes sense within the storyline, but I enjoyed them.
Okay, that's fair
That's
enough.
good.
I mean, it is funny,
They're funny.
but it really it kind of angers me. I mean, because what I was saying about the ending, we don't really have an ending, but we do have 5 minutes of Wilbur torture in the
That
hospital.
makes sense.
So
I get what you're saying,
why couldn't they give them that, or just put that time of Wilbur in the hospital and give that time to Bernard, Bianca, and Cody?
Yeah.
They would have done.
That's a good point.
But I think that's part of what Disney was starting to learn how to balance the comedy with the characters, with the relationships, with the plot. And you kind of start seeing that in here a little bit, but definitely there's this definitely unbalance between, there's a scene that's pure comedy, and then there's a scene that's pure character, and there's a scene that's pure plot. And you can have all three together, and that just makes the story move faster and has a better rhythm in the movie, and you don't have to stop. The movie doesn't have to come to a halt to watch a comedy sketch for 5 minutes and then go back to the plot, and that's not how filmmaking works.
Oh my god. good.
So
Good.
yeah, I think
Well-
they can definitely improve that, and they do.
Okay. This movie is from the 1990.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this was something I learned a while ago. I don't know if it's correct, but according to me, the first Disney movie that worked with a script and not by storyboards. The story was The Beauty and the Beast, and The Beauty and the Beast was the year after 91.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. This feels like it was scripted, but apparently not, because it's
I wouldn't
not.
be surprised if it didn't, because if they
Yeah.
had a script, they could have just pinpoint this, this lack of kind of overall rhythm in
Yeah.
the movie. They could have been,
Yeah.
well, this subplot with Wilbur is not really working. What do we do with it? How do we make it flow better with the rest of the movie? I think I wouldn't be. I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if this movie didn't really have a script.
Yeah, I don't think it had it, because, like I said, Beauty and the Beast was a year after it. And it's weird. I don't know. It's weird to think that this was the movie between The Little Mermaid and the Beauty and the Beast, because a lot of people just don't mention this movie when talking about the Renaissance. It's always,
Yeah.
Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if it is because it was not a Disney princess movie between a lot of Disney princess movies.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know that until today. I think it's just so different from all of them,
yes,
Because it
we said,
focuses on animals, and the rest are on, I love story and humans. It's just so different. It kind of falls between the cracks, which is a shame.
Yeah, because I think it has everything going on against it. It didn't make money at the box office. It wasn't a musical. It wasn't a princess
Mhm.
movie.
it was about animals.
It was a sequel, and I think it's sad, of course, that it doesn't get, mentioned in the Disney Renaissance era a lot, because it is part of the Disney Renaissance. But, at the same time, I understand why it isn't, because
Yeah.
when you compare it to the other ones, The Little Mermaid and Aladdin and
Mhm.
Lion King, it is definitely lacking.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, for
not
sure.
as a solid story. It's not very solid characters. I don't know what the problem was, but I think it's just. I just think it's lacking. It's not at the same level as the rest of the Disney Renaissance.
And I think the other Disney Renaissance movies are more mature. This is an intelligent
Okay.
movie. This trusts its audience, but it's still, like you said, it has a lot of things that make you realize, right, this is a kid's movie.
It's very childish. Everything from
Not very, but it is.
with Wilbur being so crucial, and with Frank, having this whole scene
Oh.
about
Mm-hmm.
that, and everything that happens with Wilbur in the hospital, and it's just a very childish movie sometimes. For all the
Yeah.
very mature moments that it has. For example, I really like what's the name of the villain? McLeish. McLeish. I like that he was very smart, and
Yeah.
that he knew how to manipulate Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Creepy, man.
Yeah, because the basic point is that he is trying to hunt down Marajure, and
Yeah.
he knows that Cody has a relationship with her, and he knows that he knows where she is, but he won't tell him, because of course Cody is amazing, and he's like, I'm not gonna tell you where my friend is. I won't let you hunt her down. So he's trying to think of a way that Cody will lead him to her without. Just to get him to do it.
Yeah.
And he thinks, of course,
Yeah.
this boy has a weakness, and that he cares too much about the animals, and he cares too much about what happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
So what he does is he tells him that Marajure is already dead, and he's like, oh, poor eggs, what will happen to them? What will happen to the babies? They will probably die, and he lets him go. And of course, Cody, being the sweetheart that he is, the first thing that he does is go check on the eggs, because he wants to make sure that they're okay, and he wants to make sure that they don't die. And even if Marajure is dead, according to him, he won't let the eggs die. So of course, he goes after the eggs, and that's how McLeish gets to the nest. And I think that's a very smart move. I think, it's
Yeah, for sure.
it takes a very big psychopath to think of that, to manipulate a child that way.
Yeah.
I think it was brilliant. I think it was a spark of genius. Of
Yeah.
Not maybe the script, because as we said, maybe this movie didn't have a script, but I think it really makes sense, because it makes sense for the villain, because that's something that he would do, because he's a manipulative asshole. Sorry, I'm manipulative bad person, and Cody is a very sweet person that cares a lot about the animals, and it makes sense with his character. So when he tells him that, you already know what's gonna happen. You already understand what his plan is, without him having to give a big monologue about what his plan is gonna be, of course. And I think that's really brilliant. So I think that's what I was trying to say with the unbalance of this movie. That in some parts it's very kind of just slapstick, and it doesn't go anywhere in some scenes, but it definitely has some intelligence, and it trusts its audience in some other points. And Bernard and Bianca have really a very good relationship, and they built their relationship, and they built Bernard, and it has its good points and bad points, and I think they really find a way to make them work together. So overall, I think it's a very good movie, but it definitely is not on par with other Disney movies,
especially the Renaissance.
Especially the Renaissance movie, where this movie comes to.
And well, this movie, it was a technical achievement. Like, this is just 1 year after The Little Mermaid, and they have a lot of things going on. You have a lot of, not a lot, but the start of CG
animated.
How does it's from the, I don't know, it has a different name, I think, like the predecessor of CGI. And this was before, well, this was, I think, the first movie that used it. It was The Great Mouse Detective.
The CGI?
Well, that kind of CGI, like that predecessor.
Well, I think they mentioned it in this order as well. That IMDb says that Fox and the Hound was the first movie that used CG.
I don't know.
Generated.
They call it caps.
Oh,
yeah, caps.
Definitely. Yeah,
caps.
that's what it is.
That is the thing they call. I know about it because when people talk about it, they always talk about the scene in the Beauty and the Beast. The ballroom scene.
Yeah.
That is caps. But Rescuers has a lot going on that.
Yeah, I think it's a pioneer in caps.
Yeah,
definitely.
And that is cool.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so maybe we should talk about the next thing. How do you think it holds up against the original? Do you think it is an upgrade? Do you think it is a downgrade? Does it add up to the story, or does it, I don't know, didn't really need to exist? What do you think about the movie?
Tammy, you want to go first?
Sure. I was looking at this part of our structure, and I was like, what is it? Because I'm not sure if I would consider it an upgrade. I just think it's a nice continuation. So it's like a neutral part. Like, I'm glad it exists. It's a good film, but I don't think it does. I don't know. I don't think it's any better than The Rescuers, in my opinion. I think it's just a good film to follow. It's a good story, but there is something how I like what Gina mentioned about Bernard's arc, and how that's probably something it adds on to the film. You guys were saying how the original film is about the audience seeing if these mice can do this, if the mice can do this particular mission, and now it's transferred from that theme to the theme of just Bernard, to see if Bernard can find his own confidence and to grow into himself, so that's probably something that does different and adds on. But as a film as a whole, I feel like it's a nice continuation, but I don't think it's that much better.
Okay,
Fair enough.
Andi? Well, I think I am the same zone as you. As you said, I like that it exists. It makes sense that it exists because it was the highest grossing movie of that era. And it's a story you can continue. And I think we read now that it was supposed to have a continuation.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Apparently, they had plans to make The Rescuers 3, they wanted to make a third movie, and but what happened was that Bianca's voice actress Eva Gabor, she passed away shortly, I think, after The Rescuers Down Under. I think The Rescuers Down Under was her last movie, the last movie that she ever did.
Well,
So when she passed away, they scrapped all ideas and they scrapped all the ideas for the Rescuers 3 movie because they really didn't want to make another movie having to replace Bianca. I think I really love that. I think I have a lot of respect for them because they knew how important the cast was, and they realized that without Eva, and there was no Bianca. So
that's true.
So it really didn't make sense to continue the Rescuers without her. So they left the trilogy unfinished, I guess. And also they wanted to make. I read that they wanted to make a animated show, and that also got scrapped after Eva Gabor died. And they turned it into a Chip and Dale cartoon about them being,
Is that really where that came from?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Apparently.
I didn't know that.
Apparently, yeah, that's what I read on IMDb. So yeah, I think it's very sad. I think well, you want to finish your thoughts?
Are you finished?
I have more to say, but I wonder if you want to finish first.
Well, there is not a lot to say because both movies are. If you look at the timeline, for me, 13 years in animation history is nothing. But at the same time, a lot can happen. You notice the difference not only in animation but also in story and how they tell stories and what they prioritize. Maybe in this movie they prioritized like a character arc for Bernard, and the action is front stage. And both movies have their ups and downs, and not only the story but also in how. Well, yeah, I don't know, like the overall rhythm and themes and such. I think, I'm neutral. I'm glad it exists, and I think I like them both the same. Maybe. I also have like the same nostalgia for both, so yeah, that helps. Gina?
I think your opinion on The Rescuers and The Rescuers Down Under depends on what you like more. Like, if you are more into emotional stories and if you're more into characters and, the emotional journey, you are definitely going to be more into The Rescuers. But if you're more into action and, adventure and everything, you are definitely going to like Down Under a lot more. For me, I think I like The Rescuers, the first one, more because I just think it's a more solid movie overall. I don't remember a moment in that movie where I was out of it. It started, and from when it started to when it ended, I was there for the ride and I was paying attention. And that's something I can't tell that happened with Down Under because, as I said, it has these moments where I'm like, what's going on? And what's happening? And, I think
The Jar Jar moment.
The Jar Jar moment and the Wilbur moment. So yeah, I think the Rescuers is definitely a more solid movie, and it has a lot about it's basically because it was this time in history where they were trying to find their footing, because Walt Disney passed away like 10 years before, and they were trying to figure out what Disney was without him. So this was when the Nine Old Men were still working at Disney Animation.
Some of them.
Yeah, I think not all of them, but most of them, at least Ollie Johnson and Frank Thomas, and it shows, those kind of animations you can't duplicate, and The Rescuers just has a lot of heart in it, and it really pulls at your heartstrings, and it's just an emotional journey. But The Rescuers Another also has I think it does upgrade The Rescuers on the animation part, and and maybe on the adventure and the fun part, because I think definitely for maybe a child of this recent generation won't pay attention to The Rescuers because it's definitely more slow paced, and it's definitely more emotional and it's not as flashy as Down Under. It doesn't have these big aerial scenes with Marahure and yeah. So, I like both of them. I think I am also nostalgically attached to both of them because I watched them, as one,
Yeah.
As I said, I didn't have a distinction in my head, there was... Also, I wanted to say, I didn't find a moment to say this, but in Spanish, the name for the rescuers... It should be Los Rescatadores. That's how you say the rescuers in Spanish. I think that's what it's called in Spain.
Yeah, that's what it's called in Spain.
But in Mexico, the movie's called Bernardo y Bianca. Bernardo and Bianca.
Aww.
But Down Under...
Don't say it.
Yeah, I will say it because it's very funny. In Spanish, the rescuers Down Under is Bernardo y Bianca and Cangurolandia, which basically translates to Bernard and Bianca in Kangaroo Land. I know why. For the longest time, I thought Cangurolandia was a real place. I thought Kangaroo Land was a real place, and then I just recently realized that Kangaroo Land or Kangurolandia was another name for Australia. And I is that racist? Is that just...
Is that a thing? Is that like a nickname for it? Is that is that a thing?
One calls Australia Kangaroo Land.
I've never heard that.
Just Bernard and Bianca. And it's just hilarious. I was just watching the movie and I was realizing this in my head that Kangaroo Land is just Australia. Wow.
That's so funny.
Why? Maybe because Bernard y Bianca in Australia doesn't sound as good. It's not marketable, but if you say Kangaroo Land, what is that?
Where is
Kangaroo Land? Because there aren't even many kangaroos in this movie. It has
one.
I think it's one at the beginning and one that's in the cages.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a funny fact about the movie. But I think it's not just in Mexico. I think in France the movie is also called Bernard and Bianca in Kangaroo Land, but just in French.
Really?
Yeah, I think that I read that. So it's not just Mexico. That's weird.
I have one thing to say about this as well. Okay. So we talk about how this movie didn't make enough money. One of the reasons was because the weekend that this came out, another movie that you probably heard of also came out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and this movie was also about a blonde kid getting into trouble.
Yeah.
The movie was Home Alone. And I don't know, I was talking to Gina about it.
Yeah, they came out the same day. They came out the very same day.
Yeah, how do you beat that?
Yeah.
Well, the Rescuers did beat
Star Wars.
in France, but they didn't come out on the same day.
Ah, okay.
I think the trouble is that they came out on the same day, so when parents were trying to choose what movie to see, they chose Home Alone, maybe because, I don't know, the Disney Renaissance wasn't, it hadn't officially begun. I mean, it had because it was The Little Mermaid, but we didn't know what the Renaissance was because there wasn't any other movie. So, even if The Little Mermaid was a big success, maybe people didn't have Disney as, this amazing animation studio. I think that Disney has definitely gone through some periods of time where people didn't really have a good opinion about their movies. And maybe even... I think The Rescuers Down Under really missed that moment in time where Disney really came back the Renaissance. I think it's part of the Renaissance, but it didn't live to see that high of Disney movies. So when this came out the same day as Home Alone, I think it has everything going on against it.
Yeah,
because,
that's
parents just preferred to watch a live action movie that was gonna be funny and I think it came out at a really bad time. So that didn't really help with its box office.
So
if you think about it, the reason that we have a lot of direct-to-home video movies is Home Alone.
I can play Home Alone. I never liked Home Alone. I never got it.
I've never watched Home Alone.
Yeah, everybody I know says they love this movie, and I'm like, I don't get it.
But I've never really watched it.
It's a movie. I don't know, it's entertaining.
Yeah, I
It's a
think
classic.
It's a classic. A lot of people grew up with it, and I think that's why people love it so much.
Mm,
I just never really watched it. I was really an animation kid. I grew up watching animated movies.
yeah.
There's a lot of movies that many kids of my generation watched that are live action movies that I didn't watch because I spent most of my childhood watching animated movies. You know, like Star Wars or other Disney live action movies. I just didn't. I wasn't into live action when I was a kid. I was just very animated.
Where are my cartoons?
I knew what the trend was. I'm kidding. So yeah. So some closing thoughts about the movie, about the Rescuers.
I think I said enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's everything I wanted to say about the Rescuers Another, and I just love the title in Spanish. I'm sorry.
Oh my
I'm
God.
a big fan of it. So what kind of rating would you give this movie?
Oh, okay. So
On the scale of ruined childhood to play this movie at my funeral, what rating would you give it?
oh my God. Okay. Okay, I can be extremist with this. Like I said, it's a cute movie. I like it, but I don't think I will watch it a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think when I'm thinking, oh, let's make a Disney movie marathon, I don't definitely think The Rescuers Down Under as a movie. You know,
Yeah.
that as part of it. You know, it definitely is, but it's not one that when I think, oh, Disney marathon, I think Beauty and the Beast, I think The Lion King, I think Snow White, I think Cinderella.
Mm-hmm.
Just the very last movies that are gonna come up is The Rescuers Down Under.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very sad because I think it's a very cute movie that really deserves to be noticed, but it's just lacking something.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that this is just kind of a misstep, and Disney really learned a lot from this movie, and I think if anything, it really helped to make the movies that came after this one that much greater because they realized, okay, we have this new animation technology, we have all the things that we can do, we have so much potential. Let's make sure we make good movies.
Yeah.
And I think The Rescuers Another really helped them to realize, okay, we need to find a way to balance our comedy and our characters and our plot. So how do we do that? And also add some songs because people like songs. And
Yeah.
so yeah,
They
I
do
think-
like
so
those.
Yeah.
if anything, I think it's I guess it's kind of like a Black Cauldron situation where they experimented and they did something different. They made a sequel that wasn't a musical, and it was the very first sequel. It was a very experimental thing to do.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what the reaction would be to a sequel to a Disney movie. It was something new that they were doing, and that it was very much like Black Cauldron, that it was just an experimental movie, and maybe it didn't work out. Maybe they had some trouble, and it didn't really work the way they wanted to. But at least they learned from it, and they knew how to grow from that, and it really just made Disney that much greater after that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay.
I like to see it as a stepping stone for them to get better. That's a really great.
What
Great
kind of rating
observation.
would you give it, Tammy? Or
Like as a rating, I would because I got a newfound appreciation for it after rewatching it because I think the last time I watched it was when I was 6. So I'm gonna give it a good I'm glad it exists.
okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
fair enough.
I'm gonna give it a. It holds up to the original. Maybe it's that a rating? No?
Okay,
No,
Yeah.
yeah.
okay.
That's my rating.
Okay, good enough.
Mhm.
I think I'll give it it's a good learning experience for
Okay.
everyone involved, for the audience and for Disney. We
Yeah.
learned what we wanted and what we didn't want to see in a movie. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically that's it.
Woo!
I have one more thing I want to say.
Okay.
I really didn't find another time to say this, but did you know that Wilbur and what's the name of the bird from the first one?
Marahute.
Orville.
Oh no, the bird one. Oh, Orville.
Orville and Wilbur are the names of the Wright brothers. Did you know that?
I saw that on the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, I think that's funny, and I think that's
it's a great
I love
it's
that.
clever.
I love that they did that. That they had just it's just something that I really I'm studying film. I want to make film someday, and it's just something that I really like and I want to do in my movies. This kind of trivias. For example, in my first short movie, there was the scene where this girl was given her number to this guy. And so the numbers that they used was the date of the release of the first Star Wars. I wrote it so that when she said the numbers, it was the release date for Star Wars. And no one will pick up on that. No one will ever notice that unless I say it and I'm there to point it out.
Yeah.
But it's a funny detail to add, and it's just something that is interesting. And I really love how they matched up this is a character that's gonna help them fly. So Orville for the Wright brother, and then they gave him a brother, and they named him Wilbur because they were the Wright brothers, and that's amazing. I really love that, and I think it's just an amazing thing to do with it's a detail that doesn't really add to the story or anything, but it really does make the characters that much more lovable, I think.
Yeah,
it's a very Disney thing to do.
It's a very Disney thing to do.
Okay, so I think we are done already.
I think I think that went faster than I thought. And yeah, definitely. I'm just really excited. I just can't believe we already did the first episode.
No, it's so exciting, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed having to watching these two films and then talking about it with you guys.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
So I'm really excited for the next episode, which will be.
What is the next episode? Oh yeah, right. It's Aladdin: The Return of Jafar.
The Return of Jafar.
It's the first sequel that's direct to home video, and it's really interesting. Did we all watch it as kids? Have you all watched The Return of Jafar?
Oh yeah, I watched this as a kid.
You know what? I watched the third one a lot. I don't remember this one as much, but I think I'll save that for the next episode.
So definitely keep an eye out for the next episode, which is going to be Aladdin: Return of Jafar. And please give us a shout out when just go to our social media and just send us a tweet, send us an email. Our Twitter handle is 2divisionpod, and our Google email is 2divisionpodcast@gmail.com. So send us an email there. You can send us questions. You can follow us. You can send a tweet. You can send us comments. And if you're listening on iTunes or SoundCloud or whatever, just make sure to share it with your friends if you like it. Just give us your thoughts, what we can do better, or what you like about the show, so we can improve and we can make this podcast as best as possible.
Yeah. And well, that will be everything for today, guys.
Yes, thank you so much for
Thank
listening.
you. And goodbye.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.